Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another recap of Swarm. We're just going to give the last 3 episodes. Let's just say things just took a turn for the worse. This just went spiraling down out of control. So Dre got a new hairstyle. She made it back to Texas. And she just happens to be in a new mall. And she runs into the chick. I still don't know her name, but she was the manager of the other at the t-shirt booth at the other mall. So she's now at this mall and she works in the food court. And the girl was like, Dre, what happened to you? You just up and left. So they sit down, chit chat. She talks about how she was at the funeral and that they told her to leave. She became a mom. She come to find out Khalid had a older brother, so she got a baby by him. It was a whole lot of stuff happening. She seen the tattoo of Marissa on her chest. So Dre, she get these weird vibes. She just give you these weird looks and just be like, I already know what she's plotting. But whatever. They catch up, she found out some things. And the girl was asking Dre, like, so where have you been? What you was doing? So she basically tells her this made up story about, what happened. But, she finagled some of the details of what had happened. So the girl was, taking it in. She started crying with her a little bit. And I'm just thinking, like, girl, you really sitting here believing this girl. You already know she weird, but you still gonna play along. But whatever. They chopped it up, had a good moment. And then she pulls out Marissa's phone. And she was like, it was just on a few minutes ago. She was like, well, probably go over there to them to check it out. So she ends up leaving. She goes to the cell phone place to see if she can get the phone turned on. Come to find out, after entering all Marissa's information, their father, Harry, turned it off, and she basically wants to get it turned back on because, that's her only close connection to Marissa. So she was willing to pay him, I think, $200 to turn it on. He was like, listen, that's not up to me. And he realized that she was giving off these weird vibes. She was like, listen, I can't help you. I can no longer help you. Get in contact with the father and see what that can do. So now she takes this road trip back home. She ends up breaking into the house. The house is immaculate. Huge mansion. Like, what in the world? So she ends up going to take a ladder. She goes upstairs, to one of their old rooms. And I think it's her room, And she goes in, takes a shower, eats some food or whatever the case to be. And then she ends up going upstairs into Marissa's room. She realizes it still looks the same. And then, she sees her dog, Otis. And she was like, hey, Otis. And the dog came up to her, gave her a hug, a kiss, or whatever. And, she went on about her day. She took a nap or whatever. So now the father and the mother gets home. And they didn't, I guess they didn't see the ladder on the side of the house either because it's so big. So they get home, come to the front door, and they start talking or whatever the case may be. And then the dad starts going up the stairs. She was like, you left the light on, right? And she was like, what? Whatever. So that's when they realize, So the mom goes into the living room to go sit down. Next thing you know, Drake comes out with the gun, walking and sitting on the couch. And she was just like, She said some words to her. She was like, listen, I just need the phone turned on. Next thing you know, the dad comes down, Harry, comes down with a shotgun and was like, listen, put it down. She was like, listen, I will kill her. Just turn the phone back on. He basically said, listen, drop the gun. You ain't got nothing to do about it. Just drop the gun. So Dre ends up dropping the gun. And they do something and they end up into the kitchen. And let's just say she decides to run off and he starts shooting at her. And he was like, listen, you're the reason why she's gone. And all this other stuff. I was like, whoa. So she ended up finding her way upstairs She ended up going into Marissa's room. I guess her room was some part in the attic, whatever. So she goes upstairs and she locks all these connecting doors so that he can't get in. And the wife went somewhere and was like, she ran upstairs. So he's following after her upstairs with the shotgun. And she thought she was safe. He eventually blew one of the doors down to get into. Well, listen, you need to get out of here. So next thing you know, she feel like she's trapped. So she goes to the window and she ends up jumping. She ends up hurting her feet in the process. I know you hear him saying, don't come back, don't come back. And she's riding around the car and he's shooting. He literally could see her, but, you know, he missed each time. So she eventually runs out of the house and starts running down the block. He was like, listen, don't you ever come back here. You're the reason why she's gone. So now that was the end of that episode. Moving right along, come to find out, everything that was going on was really true. So now this is behind the headlines. So now this cop named, detective Loretta Green, she's basically investigating all the murders that happened. And they start off with from the beginning to now. Come to find out that they're all connected. And they started putting 2 by 2 together. Eventually they realized that it was Dre. Because come to find out, Dre was a foster child to Marissa Jackson's family. And they wanted somebody along the same age as their daughter. So once she came into the picture, everything was cool. Marissa and Dre was at the hip, buddy. You know, they did a lot of things together because they called each other sisters, even though they were foster kids, but one was. So they became sisters. They did everything together. They went to school together. People started noticing that, Marissa's friends started noticing that she was a little bit weird, but they already played off because that's Marissa's family now. And, you know, you got to be supportive and, you know, show kindness to others, even though they don't feel like they fit into play. But whatever. So she started connecting the murders together. They're going back. And they was like, so what's about this Marissa Jackson girl? Like, yes, now I hit the nail on the coffin. So they started doing investigation and that. Come to find out, everything points back to Dre, but they didn't know what her real name was. And they found out she was in different states, of course, different states doing a false alias. So they realized this girl named Carmen. They had a picture to show that, I guess it comes back to her. So it makes sense. Dre, a.k.a. Carmen, Kayla, Marissa, whatever she want to be called, was, you know, doing these things. And it made sense. So they went to go investigate Khalid's brother, Talib, and to see if any information. That's when they realized that Marissa and everything started coming into play. So now they find out that she basically is going underneath this new alias named Tony. She done changed her hairstyle. So she basically looked like a boy. And they showed the real Dre on the screen. Show how she had braids and whatever. So now that was that. So everything is starting to come together. Now in the last episode, they showed Dre. She's now going by Tony. She got like a fade high top. And hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. So they showed Tony with like a fade high top. And she ends up in Atlanta. And she's standing outside some club. She sees some girl in there that's by this taco truck, drunk as ever, trying to get some tacos, but she's out of it, incoherent. So next thing you know, just she's actually standing by this car she has. So she sees this other girl come out, and she goes to the girl that's over there by the taco stand, and pulls with their cab pulls up, and the guy was like, "Listen, we can't take you because she's a little bit too drunk than necessary." So then Dre, a.k.a. Tony, decides to, like, give them a ride. And first the girl was, like, hesitant. She was like, nah, I'm good. And then she tells her name. So the girls' names are Rebecca and Rashida. So, you know, one thing went to another. Tony ended up taking them home. And the girl, Rebecca, is out of it. She starts getting undressed. And she's walking around. And, like, her undergarments just incoherently out of it. And Rashida and Tony are talking it up. And next thing you know, Becca falls onto the ground, and so they basically had to help her into the into the house. So they end up taking her to the bathroom, put the shower on her in a tub, and then they decided they was gonna call somebody so they could get her to the hospital so that she can get out of that. Next thing you know, Rashida and Tony are hitting it off, and yeah, so one thing led to another. Tony decides that I guess they was gonna do, but that ain't happen because supposedly she got her period, whatever. So Rashida was like, look, I haven't had one of those in a minute. So she ended up finding a tampon that she gives her. And then Tony ends up leaving. So it's now like, a couple of days or so later. And Tony, I guess, was in a store or whatever. And she come to find out that the car that she had was being raided by a whole bunch of cops because she already knows she wanted. So now she ended up going to this coffee shop. She tries to go get a cupcake, and the guy was like, no, you can't have that. And then, lo and behold, Rashida is sitting down in the back, was like, listen, so what happened? I gave you my number like 3 weeks ago. She was like, yeah, about that. Yeah. So she was like, we can, you want to like to give me a ride back to my place? She's like, yeah, about that. My car's in the shop making up lies, but whatever. She said, listen, we can walk. So they get up walking, and that's, they started hitting us. So it's like weeks or months go by that they're becoming an item. And it comes to the point where Tony is going to meet Rashida's family. And yeah, they hit it off and stuff like that. So after that, it gets to a point where I think it's around their anniversary or birthday. And Tony decides to buy these Niger tickets. So if anybody got something negative to say about this Niger girl, Tony doesn't like it. So Tony eventually plays it off, and then she told Rashida, listen, I got you tickets for this. She was like, yeah, but she took the tickets, folded them up and put it in her pocket. Listen, I'm not going. She's like, I do not like her. We're not going. So after that, Tony lost it. She basically choked her out, and then she just laid there with her body at the end. Crazy, right? Sorry. So after that, she ended up burning the body, and she realized, I'm gonna still go to the concert. The tickets was in her pocket when she burned the girl's body. So now she gets to the concert hall, and she goes up to the ticket booth, and she was like, I lost my ticket. She was like, well, let me get your name. She told her the name, which was the girl, Rashida Thompson's name. She said, well, I need ID. She's like, well, I can't do that. So if we had ID, she could be able to get a ticket. So she ended up going to this scalper to get some tickets. So she meets him up in his car, and he was like, listen, it's $5,000 a piece. She wasn't going for that. So she pulled out this knife, and she ended up stabbing the dude, and got the tickets to go in. I guess nobody said nothing because, whatever. It was loud. So she ended up in the crowd. She somehow or another ends up making her way all the way to the front of the crowd. And then Nigel comes out singing her songs or whatever. And she finds her way onto the stage. And then Nigel was like, stop, leave her, let her sing. So she was like, we love you all. And that's, Nigel and her walking out of the concert together into the car. And it was weird. Like, I don't know why people didn't put two and two together. It's like, girls weird, but whatever the case may be, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was all that happened. Hopefully, to this day, they caught her. I don't know. They really didn't give much information on it afterwards. But, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, I definitely got to check out Swarm. It starts off slow and kind of in the beginning. But, I think after episode 4, that's when things start picking up. So, yeah. Definitely check it out. I definitely recommend y'all watching it. And I never knew that this stuff was based on true events. So, yeah, this is real life stuff. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the recap of Swarm. Definitely check it out on Amazon Prime while you can, while it's free. And, yeah, y'all stay tuned for the next one. Bye.